day just to see whether you've been picking up the conversation, recently, because there has been a very interesting report produced, I think, by IEA, and I don't know where you looked at that. And I think I just want to talk to about the critical minerals, right? So can those mineral supply bottleneck delay the energy transition? That's the question I want us to address today, because that's something we all agree that if we're going to go down the route of energy transition, we're going to need a lot of this material, right? So what I'm showing here on the back for you, it's cobalt, but also nickel, right? So we're going to need massive supply of them. Yeah. So is it a foregone conclusion that everything should be okay and we should be able to move ahead without any problem? I'd like to explore this question with you. But before I do that, let me just first of all reintroduce myself. So my name is Tony Tew. I'm the founder and CEO of Renewables in Africa, and we are your global clean energy champion. What is that we do? We bring, to the forefront key questions that are important for this industry, for you to get an understanding of what we're talking about and what it's all about. Because I'm very much aware of the fact that some of you will come maybe from an investment perspective. They say we have money that we want to pour into the sector. We would like to invest into the sector. We're looking for opportunities, but first, before even getting those opportunities, let us understand what are the key information, the key parameters to get here, the key insights. Yeah. So we here to help you plug this gap. When you're working with us, we help you to plug this gap. Yeah. So definitely do reach out. That's of an interest for you. But also, we're working with professionals saying that I want to jump into the sector, but I feel like I'm sort of not confident enough in myself. Yes, I have abilities. Yes, I have skills, but how can I actually fit in? First of all, can I have a broad understanding of the market? That is what we're helping you doing. When you watch one of the many videos that we have so far over the last few years that we've been around, you will get the information that you're looking for, and that will plug it, progressively. And if you have more questions, again, do reach out to us. And also, if you are a business, you say, okay, I think I can't be insensible to what's happening around me. I like to find a way to participate, to collaborate, to decarbonize my operation. And I want to tap into renewables energy because I am convinced this is a way as well for me, right, to not only save the planet, but also to reduce my costs. So how can I do it? By following us, you definitely would get a lot more information. And easy way to do it, just subscribe to the channel. So we broadcasting for multiple platform here. Choose the one that you want. You want LinkedIn, you want YouTube, you want Facebook, you want Twitter, you want Telegram, just tell me. You subscribe to that. Ideally, you want to subscribe to all of them. And if it's on YouTube, you want to press the bell notification because when there is a new video, you are connected immediately without wasting time. Yeah. So that's of interest for you. So, like I say, so the question I have for us, today is to talk about the critical minerals. Very, very important, those minerals. And then, asking the questions, can the supply of those minerals can become a bottleneck for the industry, especially as we move in towards the energy transition. So there is a very interesting report that was published recently with the geopolitics of energy transition, critical minerals by Arena. And what usually I like to do in those videos that we're having here, because I know you don't read those reports, but we do it for you. We do it for you. We simplify that for you, and we give you some understanding of what they're all about, so that you see how this would affect you and your industry. Yeah, and this is what I like to discuss today. Yeah, if that's okay with you, because we know that the energy transition, it would drive a massive increase in demand for those minerals, right? Like lithium, cobalt, nickel, copper, rare earth elements. It's going to have a massive demand, and securing a reliable and sustainable supply of those critical materials, it's crucial. It's definitely crucial for us to be deploying renewables energy, clean technology at the pace and scale that it needed to address climate change. This, we know that for certain, right? So this is something that we could say. Now the question become, are we sure that we will have the right supply? Is it not going to be a bottleneck? I want to be talking about that. Now, there's four elements that I'm going to be talking about this morning. I definitely want to talk about the supply and demand dynamics. What do we see there? Just give you a little bit of understanding what's going on. I want to talk about the geographic concentrations. Yeah, so as well, and see what could be the implications for this topic. I want to talk about the environmental consideration and maybe have a little bit of a um, let's say information or insight on the some policy recommendation, right? If we can, right? It's a huge topic. I know I'm very much aware that I'm actually tapping into big, huge topic. We may come back to each of them if that's of interest for you as well later on. But let me first of all give you that broad understanding so that at least you all know and you understand what it's all about. So I want to start by talking about the supply and demand dynamics. So what we know is that the demand for critical minerals from clean energy technologies like wind, solar, batteries, or EV is rising rapidly. Let me give you an anecdote. Recently, I usually like to exercise on a weekly basis, right? So one of those last few days, I was just, in my usual jog in the morning. So because I usually go for jogging in the morning when I can. So, and I just walked past. It was a it was a small manor, right? It was a manor, right? And that's in my neighborhood. So I just walked past. There was definitely a banner that was there. It just struck my attention because it was saying like EV chargers here. We now have EV chargers here. And I find it quite interesting, right? Because that was the first time I could see this banner. Clearly, it wasn't there before. So, and it's just a little anecdote, but what it shows here is definitely is yes, EVs are rising very, very fast, especially in the advanced economies. I agree with that, right? But what it means, the reason I'm only talking about it is to say that if we see little anecdote evidences like that, it definitely supports the assertion that I'm saying here that definitely the demand for critical minerals, materials, definitely increasing at a fast pace. And to some extent, sometimes, supply is struggling to keep up, and that will lead to market tightness. If there's market tightness, you can have as well some kind of inflation there. So it's important to understand that. So yes, you do have reserve that exists to meet this demand, but the production capacity, for refining and processing those needs need to be expanded, because what we have in here is the lead time, to have new mines and also new facility. It's about 5 to 10 years. Yeah. So what it means is actually once the demand is actually increasing at a very fast pace, the supply is not just going to plug it instantly. No, it's not going to happen. So these are the kind of dynamic we need to understand. Yes, we understand what is the demand right now, but we don't really know what is the future demand because, like I said, it's increased at a very fast pace. And how is the curve is going to be? We don't know. And we also know that actually that future demand will be also impacted by the technology innovations and also potential, material substitutions. For example, as well now for batteries, people are looking for a different combination of lithium just to make it to make it more practical for all of us. So those critical assessment, they clearly must be done. And in fact, what I want to show you here, as I was talking about the supply and demand, I also want to show you, obviously, give you some perspective as well where we are if we're looking at the oil and gas market, right? And that picture that you see here, right, especially the one on the right. So it's here to say that there's still a very big, massive difference between the fossil fuel market and the critical materials, because sometimes sometimes we may be thinking that okay, so we're going too fast already. Yeah, we're about to overtake the oil and gas market. Far from that. Because if you're looking at the graph that I'm showing you here, what it clearly shows it's the critical minerals, they're not being traded, they're not be trading at an extensive level if you compare to the fossil fuel. The fossil fuel, we're talking about $1 trillion here, right? And we not there yet for the critical mineral. There's still some way to go. We just have to give some sort of perspective sometime when we losing that. Yeah. If you look at that, like say that the value of the export for those selected commodities, you see here petroleum and the natural gas, when you combine them, it's definitely about $1.2 trillion. And then when we look at the critical minerals, right, you combine all of them, what we're not even 150 billion, right? So there's still a significant margin to go. Yeah, so that is one thing I can say. And also, when you compare the fossil fuel, the critical materials, there's a lot of difference in terms of the mining, in terms of the rent that needed for that. Also considering whether it's a risk for energy security or not. So these are the kind of consideration that we need to be looking at. So clearly, there's still a very big difference. Yeah. So that is the one thing I wanted to say. Now, if I talk about the geographic concentration, yeah, so that's another part. Especially as we want to touch on the potential impact on the market. So it's true to say that mining and processing for many critical minerals is heavily concentrated on a handful of countries like China, Chile, Australia, and the GRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. That's usually where you see those material coming. And this concentration, what they would do, they will increase the vulnerability to supply disruption, from political, social, environmental shock. So what is good is to have a diversification, right? To have, much more countries than the one that we see here. But I'm guessing as well is the more we're gonna be paying attention to those minerals, the more there's gonna be some exploration, the more we're gonna discover obviously new pockets for those minerals. It's exactly like oil, right? Or gas. So every day you're hearing that there has been a new discovery of gas in this country, the other country. So the same is going to happen for those critical minerals, yeah. But clearly, we will need that because when you have just a few concentration, it just concentrate all of those key resources in the hand of a few people, yeah. So that you don't want to be seeing. And I also want to share here in this video a short picture slide of the concentration. Let me just see if I can show that. Yeah, so that you could see the concentration that I'm talking about here. Yeah. So what do we see? Hopefully, it's visible enough for you. First of all, I think we see a list of those critical minerals or materials. So first of all, um, according to that report from Arena, so there isn't a proper definition of what is those critical materials. So it diverge. But let's say for consensus, we know that material like cobalt, manganese, nickel, copper, iridium, platinum, yeah, they recognize as it, right? And you could see the countries, and it tends to be about the same countries. You have the likes of GRC, 70% for cobalt. China really dominates in this market, guys, especially when it comes to the processing part of those materials. Called the mining, the actual mining of the raw material. Like I said, there's not a lot of country, but at least you have some diversity there. But in terms of processing, for some of those materials, for example, graphite, I think it's graphite. China has 100% control on that. So yeah, obviously it's good for China. I don't think it's that great for the rest of the world, but I'm sure that's a situation that will evolve, right? So as things are moving and as the industry is going. But what I'm also showing, if you look on the right, I was showing as well the location, just giving you a little bit of a picture. So I appreciate that it may not be very clear, but what the picture actually shows you, it's the the location in terms of the demand, the supply in 2022. That was last year. Yeah, you can see, for example, cobalt. That's mainly for cobalt, nickel, and lithium. So cobalt, definitely GRC, the big one there. So you look, for example, for nickel, nickel, in Asia, lithium in South America. But that's for the mining part. For the refining, as you can see, a lot of it tend to be in Asia, but definitely that's going to change. And how do we know it's changing? Because if you look at, for example, the second graph, which look at 2030, yeah, we could see that in terms of the refining, yeah, there's going to be a lot more happening there. Definitely, yeah. So in other places, like for example Europe or North America, but that's just a picture I just wanted to show you so that you can understand as well, a little bit of what we talking about here. Oh, I know that I've taken a lot of time, in covering those two aspects. Let me touch on very quickly the other 2 points that I wanted to discuss, which is the geographic concentration. I just me finish off and just say that the one thing I wanted to say is developing countries, they definitely can hold, a big role here. They can play a big role because some of them are holding significant untapped reserve. GRC, for example, yeah, South Africa, so they can really use it. But what would be good for them is to move up as well the value chain, right, into processing and manufacturing, not just the mining, in order for them to really, really tap into, like I say, the real economic value. So that's one of my main strong message I want for this video. Yeah, guys, definitely don't just look at the mining part. The mining part is great, but look at also the manufacturing processing. Yeah, so that's where the strong value added here. In terms of the environmental social consideration, so mining critical minerals, it has major environmental impact. It could have habitat destructions, contamination, greenhouse gas emission. So what we really need in place here is strong regulation. Yeah. So because mine are often on or near to indigenous lands, so community engagement consent is critical. Early stages, and you also want to make sure that the labor condition in mining, which can be dangerous, it's done with proper safety protocol and oversight. And you want to make sure that as much as possible human rights are protected. Yeah, that's fine. So just conclude one point on the political recommendation. What we know and what is came out clearly from the report and all the research is that those economies that will rely or that will usually be able to exploit the critical materials, yeah, so they need a cross-sectoral assessment of just critical minerals demand, and they need to have in place collaborative strategies to ensure that the supply can happen in real time, because no one country actually can provide all the demand that is needed, whatever the material that you're taking. So you need to have very much collaborative approach, yeah, to maximize the benefits, and also make sure that we reach a level whereby not only they can take, obviously the people that have this material, they can take full advantage of that, but also serve the industry, serve the community at large the way it should be. So you want to have as well, innovation R&D that should be boosted to improve the efficiency, the recycling, the material substitutions. And you want to put in place standards that are needed to ensure transparency, sustainability, and also stakeholder engagement along the value chain. And again, like I say, so for developing countries, so they need to build capacity to make sure that they really exploit those downstream industries. Again, I say processing, manufacturing. This is really, really something that I personally would want to see. Yeah. So I think that's sort of all I wanted to cover in this video, because I know that I don't want to be usually too long. I've been usually longer than what I anticipated. Yeah. So it can be achieved, renewable energy-based energy transition can be achieved sustainably, But delivering critical minerals in a responsible manner, it requires coordinated policies and collective action between nations. And that's really what we want to see. I'm just going to stop here. I'm just going to say, yeah. So hopefully it kind of makes sense a little bit. But let me just finish off and just say this, right? So policymakers or consultants working on these topics, if you have some key insight that you want to share with the industry, yeah, and you don't always find the proper way to do it, do reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to talk to you because we can help you, to spread the message around that. Tap into one of those awareness program awareness packages that we offer that can help you to put the message in front of the people that need to see that message and potentially also attract whoever is your key customer, key target there. So that's the whole point because the free thing that we do, give the visibility, the leads, and the sales. Yeah, we're here for that. So are you actually involved in developing policies and developing strategies, solutions for critical minerals? So do you want to go out there to get people to understand what you're all about and attract your key target customer? Yeah, definitely engage with us. More than happy to talk to you. So that's all I had to say for today. So hopefully you liked it. Definitely, as usual, just leave comments. I read and I respond to all your comments. And my team as well will do. So as usual, pleasure to work with you. And see you next time, guys. Take care. Bye bye.